I promise you've never heard a story quite like this before. It's the tale of a man who dared to defy the one thing no human has ever conquered: time itself. This is the story of Jean-Baptiste Camille Moran, a brilliantly eccentric watchmaker from 19th century France, whose improbable life journey revolved around his obsession with rewinding and, yes, even halting time. Picture this: Provence, France, in the 1840s. The Industrial Revolution was booming, and every inventor dreamed of building the next big machine that would change humanity forever. But amidst all the steam engines and textile looms, there was one small, overlooked workshop tucked away in bustling Marseille. This was Moran's sanctuary. He wasn't interested in machines moving forward. He was focused on making them go backward, or stop entirely. Moran grew up with a fascination for timepieces. As a child, he would take apart clocks just to reassemble them, only backwards. He wanted to understand what would happen if time moved in reverse. This peculiar interest was fed by a personal tragedy. His younger sister, Elise, succumbed to an illness when he was just 12 years old. Heartbroken, Moran became determined to find a way to turn back time and save her, at least in theory. By the time he was 20, Moran had become a skilled watchmaker, known locally for creating intricate and unorthodox designs. But what set him apart from his contemporaries was his sheer audacity. His designs weren't just elegant, they were eccentric. Clocks that ticked backwards, watches with no discernible time format. His obsession earned him ridicule, but Moran was undeterred. He believed that understanding time's mechanics held the key to controlling it. Fast forward to 1854. Moran introduced the invention that would cement his name in history: the chronostasis mechanism. This wasn't just any clock. It was a device crafted to momentarily halt the movement of its hands under precise conditions. At first glance, it looked like a beautifully adorned pocket watch, complete with gold intricacies and rustic engravings. But inside, it was a marvel of engineering, a labyrinth of gears designed not to tell time, but to defy it. The chronostasis mechanism utilized a mechanical paradox. To put it simply, when the watch reached a certain time, intricate gears locked against each other, causing it to stop until manually reset by the next sequence of movements. Naturally, the invention caused an uproar. Some hailed Moran as a genius, proclaiming him the Galileo of timekeeping. Others said he'd gone mad. Though the chronostasis mechanism didn't literally halt time, it symbolized a philosophical challenge. Could human beings ever hope to stop or reverse the irresistible forward march of time? But here's where the story takes an even stranger turn. Moran wasn't satisfied with merely halting the hands of a watch. Inspired by his early experiments with clocks ticking in reverse, he began modifying the chronostasis mechanism to supposedly rewind time. He believed that if he tuned the gears to exact mathematical ratios, reversing time was within his grasp. This evolved into his life's work, a project he dubbed the Ion Experiment, named after the Greek deity representing time. The most peculiar part of the Ion Experiment. Moran wasn't just working with clocks anymore. He connected his prototype device to larger machinery, including pendulums and water clocks, theorizing that the key to reversing time lay in synchronizing different types of timekeeping methods. In 1862, Moran made an announcement that shook academic and scientific communities to their core. He claimed he had successfully reversed a pendulum swing through the manipulation of temporal equations. Historically, there's nothing to verify this claim, but witnesses at the time swore they saw a pendulum begin to reverse its motion, defying the normal rules of physics. Most skeptics attributed it to sleight of hand or mechanized trickery. Some were so awestruck, however, they became his patrons. But Moran's ambition was his ultimate undoing. The stress of constantly improving his designs took its toll. By the late 1860s, his health began to decline. Yet he refused to give up on the Ion Experiment. By 1871, Moran had retired to a modest cabin in the Alps, becoming a recluse. He continued his work in isolation, surrounded by a collection of bizarre-looking inventions that puzzled everyone who visited him. Tragically, Moron passed away in 1873 at the age of 53. He left behind hundreds of journals filled with cryptic notes, sketches, and theories combining science, art, and metaphysics. Much of what he wrote remains undeciphered to this day. As for the chronostasis mechanism, rumors persist that one of his original prototypes still exists and occasionally surfaces among collections of rare horological artifacts. But to this day, no one has successfully replicated a working version. What's spectacular about Jean-Baptiste Camille Moron is not just his ingenuity, but the philosophical questions he posed to humanity. Can time truly be controlled? Should it be? His story challenges us to contemplate not just the mechanics of clocks, but the very nature of time itself, a universal force that binds all life together in an infinite march forward. It's a sobering thought that one man strove to break that chain. So, dear viewer, the next time you glance at a clock or check the time on your phone, take a moment to think of Moron and his dream of halting the seemingly unstoppable force of time. His was a dream some might call impossible, but history has shown us that today's impossibilities are often tomorrow's breakthroughs. Who knows? Maybe, one day, someone will succeed where Moron left off. Will it be science? Will it be magic? Or perhaps a mix of both? Jean-Baptiste Camille. Moron may not have stopped time, but he ensured his story would endure through it, a feat that's perhaps even more remarkable. Ensure the expanded voiceover is even more entertaining, but that it maintains the same style, tone, and key points as the original.